Hello everyone, Paul Rogers here. Today I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency market, and if it's in a bubble. Because that's something that I get a lot. Now, let me share my own experience a little bit. I've been in this space for over 2 years now. And when I got in, Bitcoin had already had a major run up to I think it was $1,200 before Mt. Gox had its hack and collapse. Um, I saw Bitcoin go all the way down to around $200, $300 and just kind of hovered there for a long time. And I never owned Bitcoin. Um, but I started reading a little bit more about different technologies associated, and I got really excited about Dash. At the time, Dash was around $12 and ended up actually buying Dash when it was around 10. So I decided to make the plunge and made a wire transfer to Kraken and ended up buying Dash. And I was just sold on the vision of Dash, and I thought I had a lot of room to grow. At the time, Dash was viewed as kind of a little bit of a joke, I guess, in the cryptocurrency space, just because it wasn't Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, was around $30, $25, and then it crashed down to all the way, I think, maybe $7 or so because of all the issues with the DAO and everything else. So that was kind of where I was introduced to all this. And back then, it wasn't a group. I mean, I would go up to someone and say, "Hey, do you know what Bitcoin is?" And most of them would have no clue. Ethereum, I'd say one in 1,000 people would know what Ethereum was or less. It was very obscure to them. But Bitcoin, maybe 1 in 10 would have heard of it. Um, but finding another person who invests in Bitcoin was pretty rare. So I mean that was how things were back then, and over the last, I'd say, month, 2 months, things have really shifted gears. I've noticed that a lot of people that I've met around the world in different places have been trying to contact me to try to buy or pick my brain as far as whether this is how it all works and if it's something they should invest in. And now it's at the stage where everybody is asking about Bitcoin, and it's in the headlines all the time. Almost no one has Almost no one now, I'd say, out of 10 people I run into, 9 of them would have at least heard the name Bitcoin before. Something like that. So we've went to maybe 1 in 10 to 9 out of 10 people have heard of Bitcoin. At least that's my opinion, or what I've encountered, I should say. And it begs the question: are we in a bubble? Is this something that's going to end up just popping and crashing? Well, people have often cited other bubbles, like one that's the most popular is the tulip bubble, which was people obsessing over tulips and then eventually, I guess, coming to terms that they can like grow in the ground, and they weren't that rare. So I don't know how anyone could ever compare Bitcoin to like tulips, because there's a finite amount of Bitcoin and it has a utility. Um, so I really don't think that's a fair comparison at all. If someone wants to compare Bitcoin to .com, now I think that holds a lot more weight. So what we are in right now, in my opinion, is a discovery phase. We're trying to figure out what can be, what blockchain can be used for. And people are making, I mean, there's probably 10 projects starting each day, new projects. Um, and it's the same thing that happened with .com. People were like, hey, let's do everything online. Let's shop online. Let's do, whatever. Everything can be done online. But eventually what happens is people figure out not everything should be done online. Some concepts won't work. And that process is going to happen with blockchain. Right now, everyone's saying everything should be on the blockchain. Everything needs to be blockchain. Not necessarily. Some things can be done on servers more efficiently. Some things work just fine the way they are, and some things obviously can benefit a great deal from blockchain technology. So, and we're in the discovery phase right now. So it's natural that a tech bubble would form because of this. All the speculation and money flowing into it. Almost everyone knows someone who got rich from cryptocurrencies. So that's going to create a lot of hype. And there's a whole bunch of people entering this space that know nothing about it. Most people that call me or message me about all this, they don't know anything about it. Nothing. They just know the name and they just want to make money. That is a red flag for a bubble. When people are investing in something that they know nothing about just to make a buck, that is a major sign of a bubble. So what does that mean? What is this going to do if this is in fact a bubble? Well, what's going to happen is price is going to get to a stage where it goes parabolic, truly parabolic, and just everybody and their mom is going to be invested in it, and it's going to run up, and people are going to talk about how great it is, how maybe they don't even have to work anymore because they're going to be a crypto millionaire or whatever. When it gets to that frenzied pace, eventually something's going to happen and the bubble will pop. In Bitcoin, let's say when it happens, will be at, let's say, $150,000 per Bitcoin or something. Who knows? I'm just throwing a number out there. But it's going to be a lot higher than it is now. And $150,000 per Bitcoin would be about 10 times higher than we are today. So what would happen is people would start panic selling. All these people that were just speculating, that know nothing about the tech, that were just in it just to make a few bucks quick, that don't even want to use it as what it was meant to do. As being your own bank and being in control of your money and your wealth and your savings, and be able to send money to anyone around the world. That it's not going to be used for that for these people, and it's going to collapse. And how far Bitcoin will go, I don't know, but it'll probably go back down to, it would probably lose 90% of its value, or I'd say 80 to 90% of its value when this bubble pops. And that means Bitcoin will head back down to where it is today and find some support and then start slowly building back up the same way that .com did. And that's my opinion. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to go up like this forever. I think it would be very foolish to think that. So you have to accept the fact that things are moving up too quickly. It's the level of adoption for Bitcoin is being outpaced by the hype. That's the issue. The hype is leading us into a bubble, and that's normal. People get crazy when you hear about your neighbor making 10 times his money in 6 months. You say, hey, teach me how to do it. I want to make 10 times my money too. And it's kind of like a domino effect that just happens. So anyways, now as traders, as investors, as people, as enthusiasts like myself, what do we do with that information? How do we deal with that? Well, first off, it's okay to acknowledge what is going on. There's too much hype. There's too much hysteria. Does that mean I'm going to be selling my Bitcoin? No, I'm not. I'm holding on to my Bitcoin. I'm only going to invest my money into projects I really believe in, like Ethereum, Ripple, Dash, EOS, IOTA. And there's a few others that I think have some staying power as well, and I did a video about that. Put your money in those and set a target. Say, you know what, at a certain point I'm going to go and cash some money out to where if Bitcoin and these techs do drop a little bit and do have a major correction, that it's not going to hurt. You know what I mean? You're going to have your initial investment out of this and having some cash on the side, so you can sleep at night, because when the day comes, when the bubble does pop, you don't want to be going and just causing a bunch of stress and freaking out about it. You want to be able to go and say, I put my money in, I've taken my cash out, it's back in my bank account, and the rest, I know in the long run, it's all going to be worth a lot. Even when the bubble does pop, it's still going to build back up because it's a valuable tech. It's not just something that's a fad that's going to be here and gone. So plan for that to happen. Plan for there to be a moment where everyone panics because too many people have jumped into this at the last second, and plan accordingly. So in 50 years from now, a bubble that forms and pops in the beginning isn't going to mean much of anything. It's going to mean about as much as the first bubble that formed with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin went first from $1 to $100, pop, back down, then from 100 to 1,200, pop, back down to 200. And now we're going from 200 to, I don't know, but a lot higher. And then eventually it's going to pop and correct, but it's not going to go back down to 200. It's not even going to go back down to 1,000. So in the long run, it's really not that big of a deal. But just a word of advice so you can sleep well. We have all the classic signs of a bubble. Doesn't mean the tech's going to disappear, but it does mean that things are going to go really, really, really crazy. And then it's going to get really ugly, and people are going to get wrecked, and they're going to cry, and they're going to be pissed. And, life goes on. Anyhow, that's my take. Paul Rogers out.